Morning everyone, and welcome to this latest video discussion as part of the RICS Tech Partner Programme. My name is Andrew Knight, and I've been with RICS for over 12 years now. Now, I currently work in the knowledge and practice part of the organisation, and my role is to look at the effect of data and technology right across the built and natural environment. And with over 110,000 qualified members working worldwide, right across the property life cycle, from land, planning and development, construction, finance, brokerage, property management, asset management, building management. It's really a very, very broad canvas upon which data and technology is having a huge effect. And indeed, our members work all across the main asset types of land itself, residential, commercial, alternative assets and infrastructure. So hugely interesting and hugely important now to look at the opportunities and the risks of using data and technology. And I'm really pleased today to have Olivier join me from Real Quality Rating. So please do come on the call, Olivier.
Good morning, Andrew.
Morning, Olivier. And before we get into kind of the bits and the bytes and talk about the kind of work you're doing, it'd be great to hear a bit about your backstory and the origin story of RQR, if we could.
Sure. RQR is a property rating agency that started back in 2017, and based on this rating, we provide to our clients sustainable valuation tools and also investment decision-making tools. The background of RQR is that I've spent my career in the asset management industry during nearly 15 years, and then I joined MSCI on the financial analysis side, and I've seen that a lot of decisions were made based on intuition that were not more recently reflective of sustainable development factors. So to address this issue, we've created RQR.
Indeed, and I guess what we're pretty interested to talk about today is a new solution you have, IVDS. Could you tell us what does IVDS stand for, and what's the purpose of it, Olivier?
Yeah, IVDS, the IVDS stands for Integrated Valuation and Decision Support System. And the main objective of IVDS is to enable, to give the possibility to external users to rate the sustainable value of their property, and then to connect this assessment to financial value. So the main objective is it's a two-step approach, and the main objective is to connect the physical attributes of a property to its valuation. If I may, I have a very quick presentation to show.
Yeah, sure.
To start with, why IVDS? Well, we have a conviction, which is that assets that are not sustainable. We've been talking a lot about financial factors and financial factors and then non-financial factors. We think that both are in the process of getting together, because assets that are not sustainable will lose value. It is something that is getting more and more obvious, both from, I would say, an equity investment point of view, but also from a debt investment point of view, where banks are shying away more and more from these assets. And so the objective of IVDS is to two things: is to quantify the risk of value loss, associated to this evolution, and it is also to identify opportunities for further value creation. So the idea is just to, I would say, passively, receive the impact or the negative impact of the sustainable development evolution, but it is also to proactively, as an asset manager, to create value using the leverage of sustainable development.
So as
and
you
we
say,
do that,
Olivier,
we see.
it's not just to identify the problem, it's to start talking about solutions as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I think that the mission of an asset manager is obviously protecting value, but it is also to to create value for its clients. So I think that both are very important, and we do that by we understand that what it means, but we do that by capturing market participants' sustainable preferences, which are today somehow silent or not necessarily taken into account into current valuations. So what are, I mean, in more details, what is IVDS? It does two things, as we said it in the outset. One is the rating, the other one is valuation of real estate properties. And on the rating side, it allows to rate the properties in a few clicks. Initially we just need the user will just need the address of a property. So it's not heavily data intensive. And then so the system will generate a first estimate of the rating based on basically on the address and a few public macro information about the property, like the size, etc. Then it will allow the enrichment of the information to the extent that the user can access that information and has the time to information, and then it will allow you to make simulations, and also it is a collaborative tool. So you will see that there's a function for contextual communication with the parties that are involved in the valuation of the property. And then it allows to objectively select comparables and objectively analyze the comparables. And so it's we think that it caters to a number of potential parties like investors, bankers, appraisers, agents, that all have their we think that all can find their interest and benefits in using this solution. The way it works, I say a couple of words and then we will be able to move to the demonstration itself. It is based on first, it is based on a rating, on a sustainable value rating, whose technical term is integral quality. And this rating has two main characteristics. One, it is holistic. The other one, it is market-driven. So holistic means that it will encompass the entirety, it will assess the entirety of a property's functionalities, sorry, whether it relates to location, build structure, workspace, and it integrates also these factors in a logic of sustainable development, which means that all you can think about in terms of sustainable development, whether it relates to the environment, whether it relates to the social aspects, will also be integrated in this rating. So that's the holistic part, and then the second characteristic is that it is market-driven. So market-driven means that the selection of the items that are included in the score and the weightings of these items are determined by market participants through surveys. Okay, and we survey investors, tenants, roughly something like 4,000 professionals. So that's the core, and then we also the second step. So one thing is we talk a lot about ESG. ESG for us is one part of the sustainable development factors. So it's one part of the approach, and we think that it's not, ESG is not sufficient in itself to enable the next step, which is the connection between the scoring and, on the one hand, values on the leasing market, so rents, and on the other hand, values on the investment market, which are capital values. And last point, you'll see that we distinguish here two types of values. One is what we call spot values, and the other one is sustainable values. So spot values assumes pricing mechanism that prevail at the moment of the valuation. So that's basically the approach that is taken by valuers. And sustainable values are the values that will be achieved if market sustainable preferences were reflected into prices. And based on this, we can, we can measure on the one hand green premium, which is a situation where sustainable value is higher than spot value, and brown discounts, which is a situation when sustainable value is lower than spot value, which means that in that case you have a potential loss, and this potential loss could also be described as the cost of the inaction of doing nothing of your property in the long run. So now I propose that we shift to the demonstration.
Indeed, thanks.
Okay, so now we are on, the first dashboard of IVDS. So IVDS is a SaaS platform, and you can see, you will first see, so after you've logged in, obviously, you first see the assets that are created on the platform, and on which you will perform the rating, and then you want to perform the rating and the financial analysis. So obviously you can create assets. So as I said, it's quite easy. You just push the plus button, and then you will enter a number of information on the property itself, identification information, and then there will be a second, once you pushed next, there will be a number of information that are requested on the physical attributes of the property. So namely the size, the property, the architectural type, whether the property has certifications or not, things that are in 99% of the cases accessible on the public domain. Roughly generating an assessment based on this information takes roughly 5 to 10 minutes. Then once the property has been, once this macro information has been generated, then you just click on the asset, and a whole assessment of the asset has been, full assessment of the asset has been generated. So meaning by entering a few public information, then the system will use a statistical approach to populate all the items that are part of the score. So whether we said they relate to the location or the building, and the result is this. So this is called an indicative rating because it has been automatically generated from the public information you've entered. But let's assume that you are happy with the result, and you can see that the property is BBB because this property has a score of 751 compared to the prime reference of the market, which is 912. So it's the relation between the score of the asset and the score of the prime that determines the rating. The rating goes from single E, so the worst rating, to AAA, which is the best rating. And when you are at the level of the prime, you are AAA properties. So AAA properties exist, in any market. it's just AAA is just a relative rating, but still you can, through markets, across markets, you can compare the quality of properties by comparing their score. So that's the first point. And then what you can do is analyze the positioning of the property. So let's assume that you would like to, for example, sell, or you would like to lease up a property, and to that you need to qualify the quality of your property and to positioning it on its market. And here what you see is precisely the analysis that positions the property on the market. And this is an analysis of all, the key dimensions of that property, whether they relate to location quality, build structure, and workspace quality. So it allows you to understand what are the weaknesses and strengths of that property. It's a drill down process, where you can go down into further details the more you drill down to the, I would say, the elementary functionalities of a property. So for example, in the case of floor place efficiency, you will find the modularity of floor place, the ability of maximize occupation, the efficiency of horizontal circulation, etc. And all this is compared to the prime property. So the percentages you can see relate, are the result of the ratio between the assessment of the score on that dimension of the property to the same dimension on the prime property. You can look at this analysis in a traditional real estate way, or you can, on the other hand, choose another approach, which is another way to look at the same reality, but from let's say a sustainable development way of thinking. So here the dimensions are not anymore structural dimensions like location, build structure, and workspace. It is economic utility, social utility, and environmental utility. And here, same thing, you can drill down into each dimensions to understand how does this property positions versus its market. So this, for example, allows you to summarize how your property is positioned and what are its main strengths and weaknesses. And then what you will do is that you will go to, since you are happy with the rating, you will go to the financial valuation tab. And in the financial valuation tab, what it will allow you is to translate basically this rating into financial valuation financial metrics, like rental value or capital value. So you have here that is reminded the key indicators of the key assessment metrics of your property. Your property has a location score of 15 points out of 20 and has a building score also of 15 points out of 20. The reason why this is important is that the system will, based on the profile, the quality profile of your property, will look into the comparables database to find the comparables that are actually comparables, which means that they have a quality profile that is as close as possible to your asset. And then the system will also allow you, based on a multi-variable analysis, to make sense of the prices that are observed on the comparable, to make them relevant to the property you want to assess. So basically what we've done is that we have said we would like to value, to assess the rental value of the property. We have defined a number of filters, which is in terms of what is the architectural type of the property I want to select. So I just want to have standard properties. I don't want towers. I don't want PRE buildings. Then I have selected the market I would like to consider. And then I have also determined, defined two parameters, which are, so it's location spread and the building spread, that represent the maximum difference I tolerate in terms of quality points between the asset I want to assess, so the asset demo, and the comparables that are in that have been selected in the tab. Then I just save and I get what appears below. So here you will see that you have a number of properties that are comparable properties, so selected automatically by the system, and on which you will also see, so you will see the address, you will see the location score, the building score, and you will see the adjusted value, adjusted price. So first, regarding the location score and the building score, what is very important is that this system allows to, protects confidentiality of the information. So what will appear, the scores that will appear here are never scores that have been enriched by users or scores that have been created by RQR, so on a verified basis to respond to client solicitations. This information is confidential because it's for one part or in total privileged information. So every time the scores that you will access is the indicative score, which means the score, the estimated score that has been generated based on purely 100% public information. So that's one point. And then what is also important here, I've said that in addition to allow the objective selection of comparables, this system allows you also to make sense of the comparables. Obviously, a comparable that doesn't have the same quality as the first one, for example, as the quality of the property you want to assess, won't have won't have the same, for example, rent as that comparable. So that comparable rent is not directly applicable to the asset value. So what we've done is that there's a system, a statistical system that allows to take into account the differences between the first comparable and the comparables and the asset you want to value, and that will adjust the price observed on the comparable to make it relevant to the property you want to assess. So the 569 euros per square meter and per year is not the price that had been observed on that comparable. It is the price based on that comparable that will be relevant, that would be, yes, relevant for the subject property. And so we do that for all comparables, and in the end you have you can see here it is the estimated rental value. The estimated rental value is the average of the different comparables that have been after adjustment, after price adjustment. And you can also look at the performance of your comparables analysis by looking at the dispersion of the different adjusted comparables around the mean. So if you really want to have a good performance assessment, you will probably want to have comparables that are in the range of plus minus, for example, 10% or plus minus 5% around the mean. And this is something that you can adjust. You can adjust by checking or unchecking each line of comparables. For example, you can see that some of the comparables are far away from the assessment, from the mean, sorry. Whether it is in the plus, you can see here, there's a comparables that is 30% far away from the average, another one 39%, another one, for example, in the negatives, 22%. You can decide to uncheck these comparables, and the calculation will be, the average will be recalculated, and you will see the performance of your assessment improving. So here I think we were at 18%, and we are now at 17%. One last functionality that could be interesting also is if you want to, you have created, we'll see how it works, you have created a transaction, for example, a comparable transaction, and you would like to, force the inclusion of this comparable transaction into the analysis, and you can do it by using the function call an asset. You just type the name of the asset you've created, and the asset will be added to the comparables that have been automatically selected or proposed by the system. One last point is as for the rating. You can see that you can see that each valuation is versioned. So you will see the name of the person who has made the valuation, whether it is rental valuation or a capital value, so you can go back in the history of the valuations, of the previous valuations you have created. So that's for the first scenario in which you have generated a rating. You are happy with the rating that has been generated automatically, and you have directly created a financial valuation, whether it is rental valuation or capital value valuation. And you also know, how your property is positioned on the market. So you have basically the elements to, decide, how much do I want to rent that property. If you are a broker, what kind of recommendation do I provide to my client? Now, let's assume that you've seen the rating, and you are not necessarily happy with the outcome that has been automatically generated. It's an estimate, so an estimate has necessarily can have some flaws from time to time. So no worries, you can go to details. You can go to details, and then you can decide to amend, to change the assessment. So you can see here that so you can recognize here the main dimensions of the assessment: workspace quality, base structure, location quality, and through a drill down you can get into the detail of the valuation, the assessment, sorry, and you can do it at two levels. So you can do it either at an elementary functionality level. So let's talk about, for example, we took the example of floor plate modularity. You can change it in, I would say, you can change the literal assessment from very bad to very good. You can do better by going down into the data and change the value of the data that underpin the assessment. The point here is that it allows you to change the assessment based on the time you can dedicate to the review of the rating. If you can, what we generally suggest to our clients is reviewing the rating at the elementary functionality level, and then only on the functionalities that you think are not a fair representation of the asset, get into the detailed information. So it's better because it will be more objective than just changing the assessment. So how do we do that? So it's very simple. So here we are on the, I would say, on the consultation screen. To change any of the assessment dimension, you just click on create new version. And here, what is important is that you can decide whether you want to correct an assessment. So you'll choose that you want to create an actual version, or whether you want to simulate, for example, CapEx impact on the rating. So let's assume that you for example, you would like to create an actual version, and then so you will push the submit button, and then so you will see the assessment appearing again, and let's assume that you wanted to change one of the data, and you just click on the data, change the information, sorry, and then you just need to push the green button here, and the change will appear, with a red dot on it to show you that you have changed the assessment on that characteristic. So you can do it anywhere you want. And once you've done, you've made your amendments or your changes, then you just push the red button, and the property, the assessment will be recalculated, taking into account your changes. So it takes a few seconds, but eventually what you will get is what we've seen here initially in the overview, with a score that changes here because you have changed the underlying information. So that's again, these changes can be done with two purposes. One is to correct an assessment, to have the rating reflect the reality of an existing property, or it can be used to reflect a future state of the property resulting of capital expenditures. And once you have either corrected an existing property, properties assessment, or when you have simulated a prospective future state of the property, in any case, you can get back to the financial valuation and work again on the financial values of the property, whether it relates to the rental value or the capital value. And in doing so, it allows you to, in front of a capex budget, it allows you to measure, I would say, the value impact of the capex, and then have an objective understanding of the ROI, basically, of your project. So these are the main functions. Then I go through quickly a few other functionalities on this asset. We said that we can create transactions. So you can add transactions here. Same logic. It's just push a plus button, and then you will enter a number of information about the transaction. So ahead of creating a transaction, obviously you need to create an asset and attach the transaction to the asset by just getting into the assessment of the asset. So very simple. And you can see also that there is a button, publish, here, which means that you can decide whether you want that transaction to be shared, with the other participants on the platform, or whether you prefer to keep it for yourself, just for the purpose of your own analysis. Another important functionalities is what we call members. So members are the people who are involved into the assessment of the property. Sometimes you may want to have, especially if you want to simulate capex impact, you may want to have, for example, of course, the asset management who's leading the project, but also maybe the building consultant, your property manager, all these people who have a different perspective on an understanding of the property that could be relevant to the valuation. During valuation campaigns, the appraiser, for example, may want to share the assessment to his clients. And the thing is that once you are a member for the valuation of a specific asset, then you will, every time a new version of the assessment or a new version of the financial valuation is created, you will be automatically notified, and you can also, type messages to be able to communicate with the other members on this project. So basically, it's a contextual communication that allows collaboration and that simplifies collaboration, just like a little bit Slack would do it for a general project. And last point, the document, the platform allows also to share documents, because documents are, obviously evidences that allow to improve the quality of the assessment. Let's, for example, imagine a situation where an appraiser provides a first result of evaluation, and its clients, after reviewing, for example, the assessment, considers that one dimension of the asset has not been properly valued, and as a result of that, provides additional information to substantiate or to improve the assessment of the appraiser. I think that we have looked at the main functionalities of IVDS. So just to summarize, IVDS is a sustainable valuation platform. As we said, sustainable valuation is essential. It's not good to have, it's essential to make sustainable decisions. Investors who don't make sustainable decisions are exposed or expose their clients to value losses and also to loss of opportunities. We are very happy to make further and more detailed demonstration on a one-to-one basis. Please do not hesitate to contact us.
Thanks, Olivier. I mean, it's fascinating to see, and as you say, it's really important that people are able to understand not only the effect now on value of these various characteristics, but even more importantly, model the capital expenditure they would need to spend to make sure the asset performs and is still able to provide that value. So really interesting, really very, very powerful platform. Just one last question, I guess, before we close. What sort of stakeholder groups are beginning to use this? Is it valuers? Is it asset managers? Is it a mix of people who are beginning to see the importance and use this kind of technology?
For the moment, it's predominantly asset managers. But little by little, we see that the user base is getting more diversified. With, for example, appraisers, more particularly appraisers who work with banks, and also with capital market brokers.
Yes, indeed. And I guess, I suppose what's also key is that the kind of characteristics, the attributes that you're looking at reflect what the market see as important. So it's not a kind of theoretical scoring in that way. It's really what market participants are placing value upon.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's an extremely important point. The objective is really here to provide, I mean, it's really valuation, basically. So valuation is not about, defining a score, a kind of technical score within a small group of experts. It is really about understanding, what market participants, as broadly as possible, think about where the value lies, and focus on these items to the extent, and weigh them to the extent that they are important for market participants.
And I presume,
and this allows us to, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and I presume you're constantly questioning the market, resurveying the market to make sure that you understand the preferences that they're showing.
Yes, absolutely. We resurvey the market once a year. We think it's a relatively good frequency to make sure that this rating actually reflects the changes in expectations and in preferences. And this is extremely important because, as I said, we distinguish two types of values. Today we focus mostly on spot value, but we also provide what we call sustainable value. And sustainable spot values are values that are based, that assume, the prevailing pricing mechanisms at the date of the value. So which means that, for example, if the spot, I mean, if the prevailing, these mechanisms ignore a large part of sustainable development factors, we'll just be pragmatic and say I mean, in the model, these factors will be ignored. So that's on the spot model, but on the sustainable model, we will simulate what would happen if the underlying market participant preferences were filtered into the pricing mechanism. And we think that this is what will happen over time. And in that case, it allows us to to determine the sustainable value. The only way to be, I would say, legitimate is to make sure that we are a very reliable reflection of what people expect and prefer. So this is extremely important. And then what we can do once we have a spot value and a sustainable value, we can look at spreads between both, and conclude to a green premium or ground discount. And when you have a ground discount, I think that you, as an asset manager, you can make two choices. One is to sell the property if you think that there's no improvement opportunity, or to improve that property to reverse, I would say, a brand premium into a brand discount into a green premium.
Indeed, indeed. Well, it's been fascinating to see all the work you've done and what you've produced. So for today, thanks very much, Olivier, and I look forward to catching up with you in the future.
Thanks, Andrew. Have a good day.